Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am Derek Thomas, one half of your Black College Experience team, and we have with us in Atlanta, Georgia, the founder of Black College Experience in Atlanta, Georgia, the one and only Keisha Kelly.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We are here to recap a great weekend, rather, of all the great things that happened in sports, everything from the week in baseball, kicking off with or softball, baseball, everything that happened this weekend, all of HBC sports, and all the different things that happened. And we do have a great guest tonight. We do have Miles head football coach that we're going to bring on shortly. So we're glad that you tuned in, and we hope you're just as excited as we are about tonight's show.
Yes. And it's going to be an exciting show. I mean, who would have thought, from defeated 0-5 all the way to SEAC football champion, Kills?
Yep, but it's like I said, it's not how you start, but how you finish. And we look at where they were actually predicted in the predictive order of finish. And I had that same conversation with every coach that came through SEAC Media Day. I have that same conversation with every coach that comes through, talking about the predictive order of finish and how they feel about it and what they feel like they need to do in order to beat those odds. And Coach Ruffin, in fact, did beat those odds. And even going into, you go from being 0-5 to actually going to a championship you weren't even predicted to go to. And then not only did you get to the championship, they also look at you as still the underdog, because they had Albany still as a favorite, and then Albany flat out lost.
I mean, I love the underdog. Me being a Valley graduate, we're always underdog in almost every game that we play in, so I'm used to that role. So it was good to see Miles win. And then not only did they succeed and shock people in football, they also did the same in basketball. So, I mean,
Correct.
Miles is an athletic department on the rise, and, Coach Ruffin is also an athletic administration, so he can talk about, not just football, but the athletic department in general. So he wears dual roles. So I think it'll be a good conversation with Coach Miles. I talked to him a little bit last week, and you know him personally. It was my first time talking to him, and me and him, we did find out that we do have a connection of sorts, and I'll save that for the show when he gets on. So I can't wait to get him on. But before we get into anything sports related, because I don't know if you had a chance to look at the sheet, but I have a social issue that's on there about the young lady from Clark, Atlanta, and in the band, and I'm just praying for her return, that she's found. You hate that, not just because she's an HBCU student, but she's someone's child. So I hope that young lady is found.
And I think the thing that hit me hardest this morning when I saw it, when we retweeted or started tweeting about it and I posted it, I think it's hard because I'm here in Atlanta, and then it does, we don't want it to happen to anybody, but it does hit you a little bit harder when it's HBCU. And being that we're here in Atlanta, and when I tell you I watch the news, I wake up to the news, I go to work to the news, when I'm home, I watch the news throughout the time. It hurts you to see that you can see all this other stuff going on in Atlanta, all the different things that's going on that they're on the news talking about, and you see no coverage on this. So I just started tagging and hitting people that I know, that the people that I know that are investigative reporters, people that are in the streets. I actually tagged Taisha Fernandez. So it's like, we need these stories out there the same way. And it's, it's like, oh, well, maybe she's with a friend. And it bothered me to know that the only person that had actually done a story was HBCU Game Day. Shout out to them for being the media hub that we needed. They were the only ones that, so shout out to Tolly and Steven and the rest of the HBCU Game Day for getting that story out, because we need to know about this. And it's also a factor of who is going to protect our black women, who's protecting our black girls. All these people keep going missing, and it's like no one is doing anything. All these things that keep happening to women, like nobody's protecting her. So we're praying that she comes back safe.
Right, and just to state her name, we want her to be found, Elizabeth Liz Martu, a freshman band member at Clark Atlanta University. So we're going to be praying along with everyone else in the HBCU community that she is found and brought home safely. Myself, I'm a father of a daughter, and if this was me, Kels, there is no way I could sleep at night knowing that my child is not safe. So I'm going to pray for her family, pray for her parents, and just pray that she's found safely and brought home back to Clark so she can continue her education. It's kind of hard to move on from a topic like that, being that, it's so serious, but we do have a job to do. But the first thing I want to say is this first story I want to talk about sports-wise is the St. Aug football star that's turning heads as a boxer. And, as black college football athletes, we normally try to find a career in football. But this young man, was a star running back at St. Aug, played for the Ravens for a while, and now he is a boxer in Baltimore and doing very well. That is former St. Aug running back Walter Sanders. And he was a standout running back at St. Aug and then with the Ravens. And now he's knocking people out instead of taking hits from linebackers. What do you think about that, Kels?
That's because we often look at, we have to go around these avenues. And it's always exciting when we have athletes from the past or from HBCUs, I should say, rather, when they pursue. How many people do we talk about that have gone into boxing? Not many. We don't talk about a boxer. We don't talk about a USC. We don't talk about anything. Most of the times we're going to be talking about basketball, baseball, or football. Mm-hmm. And those are going to be the prominent things. Those are going to be the three top sports. We'll talk about track and field and things of that nature. But it's always refreshing when we get to hear about another sport. So I think you go from one sport, and that means that you're totally competitive. That means that you can compete in other things. And that means you're a total athlete when you can go from being knocked over to knocking people out.
Right. And just to run down this information I have here, he's considered one of the top U.S. amateur fighters in his new career. He is already the Maryland light heavyweight novice champion. Despite only fighting for 2 years and one fight, Sanders, one of the hardest hitters in D.C., Maryland, Virginia region area, defended his crown by knocking out an opponent in 20 seconds. Last Saturday, he raised eyebrows when he captured the Washington, D.C. Golden Gloves Championship, currently 7-0 with 4 knockouts. This is coming from HBCU Game Day. HBCU Game Day be on it, but I like seeing things like this. Nickname Stone. I just love to see it when an HBCU athlete, former HBCU athlete or graduate, succeeds at something, Kels.
Absolutely.
And we have my line brother Patrick Perry on. What's going on, PP?
Oh, not much. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. Man,
yeah,
Kel, did you see PP's post with them bacon cheddar burgers he had on the grill? Got me all hungry over here. Kels, you there? Kels?
I am here.
Okay. Did you see PP's post about his cheeseburgers? He was barbecuing, making me hungry over here.
I did not, because I'm eating vegetables, so I'm eating something totally different. I'm eating vegetables.
Yes, indeed. Now, we were just talking about Walter Sanders starting his boxing career, and hopefully he'll make it to the top-ranked level of boxing, representing for HBCUs. I hope he continues to have a good career, successful career, and can't wait to see what's next for him. I have to follow him, see if we can get him on Black College Experience and talk about his journey at St. Aug's, and then his journey from the football field to the boxing ring. Now, bless you. Now,
thank you.
Now, to finish out another sport that's been going on, University of Maryland Eastern Shore was in the NCAA bowling, and they made some noise. I'm trying to find that article now. They made some noise, but they were eliminated today. Talking about yesterday. They failed in the finals. I just want to run down their journey in the NCAA Bowling Championship. And, you know, to have an HBCU make it to the semifinals, that's a tremendous feat. To start out, NCAA Championship, they defeated Bowie State 865 to 750, and then 868 to 860. They then lost to McKendree 1021 to 920. Lost to McKendree again 1125 to 930. Defeated Sam Houston State 987 to 897. They defeated Sam Houston again 902 to 894. They defeated Sacred Heart 1014 to 946. And then they lost to Sacred Heart again 935 to 966 in the tiebreaker. They Sacred Heart won 947 to 852. I'm sorry, that was against Stephen F. Austin. So they defeated Sacred Heart, and then in the semifinals, they fell to Stephen F. Austin 947 to 852 to finish the season 77-46. That's winning 62% of their games and a long run in the bowling championship. So I think we have our guests on. Before we introduce our guest, Kels, go ahead and talk about how does that look for the Hawks to make a deep run in the NCAA bowling championship.
Well, I did. I followed it from day to day, or I followed it every single time, and I figured they would actually get past. Once I seen them kept advancing past Sacred Heart, I thought they would go a little further. But being that they did stop there, still a good run, especially in bowling, because we don't talk about bowling as much. And those are often the people that are getting the championships, the bowlers, the soccers, and the track and fields, and the people, the tennis, the people that we don't talk about. But before we bring on the guests, let's go ahead and take a commercial break, and then you go ahead and introduce me. We'll go ahead and talk to Coach Ruffin.
All right, we'll be right back with more Black College Experience in 31 seconds.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience. Kels, you do the honors.
Yes, you do the honors.
Oh, okay, I'll do so. Well, this week, our guest is a man who last year, at this probably halfway through the season, he probably was wondering where his direction of the season was going to be. And when you say a turnaround, boy, did they have a turnaround. From defeated to undefeated, they won their games all the way to the SEAC championship, and then upset Albany State to claim the 2018 SEAC football championship. None other than Coach Reginald Ruffin. How you doing, Coach?
Oh, man, I'm blessed and highly favored. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, indeed. Now, I have two pictures of you with the trophy. The first one is a picture with the trophy on the table with you just smiling. But my favorite picture is a picture of you kissing the trophy. My first question, how did it feel to lay a lip lock on that championship trophy?
Well, that was a tough year previously for Miles College in reference to me having to go through losing a wife and
Yes.
also losing an assistant coach and turn around and losing an assistant coach son. And just to have those three tough losses, in our family was real tough for our program. But, the resilience of our football team and our program, we battled back. And just that kiss just meant, that it was a relief that, in spite of what we went through, God is still in charge. And, and that just was a big relief for me.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, but before we talk about Miles, we want to talk about you a little bit. So go ahead and tell our listeners who Coach Ruffin is?
Well, just down to earth. I'm just so blessed, man. I'm blessed to lead young men, into the right directions, to help them to be successful and productive citizens. I think I was given that task a long time ago in this world. That's what God wanted me to do. Just a little country boy, born and raised Meridian, Mississippi, by way of Choctaw County, and Enlistment, Alabama, and played at Choctaw County High School, and went off to the University of North Alabama. Had a great career there at North Alabama, freshman of the year, and 3-time All-American, and so many national championships at the university, and became a teacher, became a coach, and it went from there. At the University of North Alabama, grad assistant, and Choctaw County as a head football coach, and Tuskegee as an assistant, West Georgia as an assistant, and Miles College as the head football coach. And I'm just blessed just to lead young men. I think that's been my whole token in life. I think that what God wanted me to do is help these young men to be productive and successful young men. So I think I'm in my calling. It gets tough sometimes. Sometimes I question it, but you can't question the good man up above when he wants you to do something. So but it's been real, and to see the enjoyment of these guys, to mold them from when they get here, and then all of a sudden when they leave, they totally different young men. And I've been so thrilled and blessed to be in that situation.
Yeah. Now you mentioned University of North Alabama, and in our conversation we had on Friday, we have a connection through the UNA, through your head coach at the University of North Alabama, the legendary Bobby Wallace, who was also a graduate and member of the Callaway Football Sports Hall of Fame. That's the high school that I graduated from, football team I played for in high school. Talk about Coach Wallace and what he meant to you as a mentor and football coach.
Well, everything I get, I tell people that I learned so much from a guy that gave me an opportunity. He gave me a football scholarship to better myself, and he taught us so much for his intangibles and how to build a program and build a successful program. Coach Wallace was one of the first coaches. I know everybody talk about North Dakota State, but, at the University of North Alabama, we were actually the first team to win 3 consecutive NCAA national championships in a row under Coach Wallace. And, just what he did from a standpoint of the staff, hiring guys and hiring mentors to mentor the student athletes, and just building a program from student athletes, asking them to do the right thing, stay out of trouble, get your lesson, and, be good people, and, learn so much of that. And also the business side of it, of developing a program from the ground up and being able to sustain it. And that's what he's done, everywhere he's been, except the likes of Temple. But everywhere he's been able to turn programs around, and he's won everywhere he's been. So, that's just, father figure, what he's done for us, and the way he pushed us to be successful. That's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing as a head coach also here. And, you learn so much from a guy that everybody knows. And, I always say, anytime you can get my coach and everybody can pick him off the street and say, hey, man, you love going to the Blues Festival in Laurel, Mississippi. When you see a white man going to a Blues Festival in Laurel, Mississippi, that means a lot. But then, like you just said, Coach Wallace graduated from Callaway High School, so in Jackson, Mississippi. So, that's why.
Yes, indeed. Now, you kind of gave our listeners a little bit of your journey on how you coach in high school, coaching at schools in the SEC, and coaching in the SEAC at Tuskegee, and now the head coach at Miles. Kind of talk about, what it means to you to build this program. You've been, I think this is your what? You've been a head coach.
You're going on year number 9.
Yes, indeed. So talk about how you built the program to be able to get to where you are now with Miles defending the SEAC football championship.
Well, I think the first thing you have to give honor and for the man up above. But secondly, I have to give honor to my president, Dr. George T. French Jr. Number one, he gave me the opportunity to become the head football coach at Miles College, and no one else gave me that opportunity. I always been an assistant, but I didn't have the opportunity to be a head coach. But I'm very grateful and thankful for him for him laying and just aligning, his vision with my vision, and we both coming together and get an opportunity to see what it takes to build a program. And he was all on board because that's what he wanted to do as president, and he wanted to change the culture, the mindset of that athletic program when it came to football, because they didn't have the success. But, for him to come in and hire me and give me the resources that I need, I could never have done it without him. He's been the number one fan in my corner. He's been the number one fan, when it comes to our program, our student athletes, and just not football, but all athletes. So, that's the biggest shout out that I have to give to him, because of what he's done for me in this program. I always tell people I got an opportunity to be a head football coach under Dr. French leadership and a college athletic director under Dr. French leadership. So he's given me both of those opportunities that I probably would never had, gotten over the course of my career. But I'm grateful for that. But at Miles College, it's simple. The plan was simple. Getting that job and getting that opportunity to be the head coach was that we had to change the culture and the mindset of our student athletes. Number one was academically. I think God gives us the ability to play this game. But my main concern and my main focus was making sure guys knew the importance of getting a good quality education. That's what they was going to come to Miles and play for, was a quality education first, and then get an opportunity to be on the field and showcase their talent. But I always say, once God gives you a talent, that's easy. My thing was to make sure you're doing the right thing when it comes to that you're coming to college to get a quality education. And that's what I brought to the table at Miles, that our kids understand academics was the most important thing athletically, the second thing, and then how we become great people and good people on that campus, the way we carry ourselves, the way we pull up our britches. And I'm old school. My grandmother and grandfather just say, don't walk through this house and not speak to anybody. And I just had to change that mind. Our student athletes, when I'm walking campus, just not just student athletes, but all our students, I'm just saying, hey, good morning, how you doing? And they're like, Coach, you're always speaking. Yep, speak back. Because, my grandma and granddad said, I didn't sleep with you last night. You better speak, and just change the mindset and the culture of these students and the student athletes, or how they carry themselves in the classroom with their professor, and doing the right thing, because we're all a role model and everybody's looking up to us. And the thing we're not going to do is embarrass ourselves, our institution, our parents, and our athletic program. We're going to do things right. And so we had to change that culture and that mindset when we first got here. And I always say winning is contagious, and losing is also too. But winning can be contagious too. But, you got to give them the right winning attitude by doing the right things, going to class, getting your lesson, and being respectful to the females on campus and professors and adults on campus. Because I always say you're the young person and we are the adults, and that's how we're going to run things. It's only one direction we do it at Miles. We do it the right way. We all going in the same direction, and that's what we do it.
Yes, indeed. That's well said. Kels?
Okay, so Coach Ruffin. Okay, so we've gone through where you started, where you are. But I'm going to rewind back I'm going to go back to Media Day. I remember Media Day, SEAC Media Day 2017 and 2018. And we look at as always, we always look at the predictive order of finish and where you were predicted to finish. And I remember at SEAC Media Day, I think you were probably the last coach I talked to. And, of course, I always ask every coach the same question, what do you feel? And every coach probably said the same thing. Well, it's just a poll. You still got to play the game. So being that you went from where you were in that predictive order to finish to actually going to the championship game and winning championship games, tell us about that actual feeling, because I remember I was there, and I remember at the very last instance in Birmingham, after y'all won the game, I remember you crying, first of all. And then I remember all the guys around. Everybody was just around. Everybody, you were crying. I remember all your family coming around. And I remember you looking up like saying, thank you, God. I remember those moments. Take us back to those times, I guess, from Media Day up until that very moment.
Well, the race is not given to the fast nor the swift. So I tell everybody you have to endure to the end. Enduring means to withstand no matter what you went through, the tough time, me being in the hospitals all time of night trying to get a football team ready to play, and watching an assistant coach go through the same thing, At that media day, I knew that things were going to change, and it was going to be, I guess, on the up and up for us because we went through so much in 17, and I knew 18 was a new beginning. And we told our kids that. We told them that before camp. We told them that during spring. It's going to be a new beginning, and we're not going to let a poll or a popularity contest determine what kind of success we will have. Success comes from within. And we just told our guys that we believe, and I don't know if you knew, in that championship game, the press conference, it took my All-American linebacker, Austin Stevens, when the question was asked to him, what gave you guys the drive and what gave you guys to turn this thing around? He was like, my coach came to practice every day with a smile. He always said, we still in it, guys. Just keep working hard. We close, and he said, we just kept losing. But coach kept staying positive, and that's the thing that you have to be, is positive. So a man thinketh, so is he, and and the power lies in the tongue. And in that media day, I just said that it's going to be our time to shine because no poll can tell us what predicament we are, prediction we will be in. It's going to be up to us. Games got to be played on the field, and we started out slow and out the gates, but that wasn't something that we didn't think about as a coaching staff. We knew we had a new team, new quarterback. We had just a lot of new guys, new faces, and we just needed to get to a point where we all trust each other and we believed in each other. And we had some doubts. We had some animosity. We had some disagreements, and we couldn't get on the same page. But if you go back into our 2018 season, we lost a lot of close games, and losing a lot of close games and sometimes comes down to the familiarity of your team or your team been together. Have they been through this before? And we knew we haven't been through a lot as a team, as a group, closing out games because those guys were all first time guys on defense and and first time quarterback, and he's trying to get used to the receivers and we had to get rid of some players. I always call them the locker room lawyer guys, the guys that's always disgruntled and everybody's got to be on the same page. And once we got everybody on the same page, and we won some close games, because I can give you an example of the Clark Atlanta game. Before we even left Friday, we suspended 3 starting defensive back. We had 2 walk-ons starting in that Clark Atlanta game. We in the game on a Hail Mary, and the thing is, those guys still played and they still worked their tails off, regardless if they were walk-on, never got an opportunity. That was their first time getting an opportunity to play because they've been on the scout team. And I always tell them, you never know when your name or your number is going to be called. You always got to be ready. And we always got to be on the same page as a team. We go one direction. We all go in the same direction as a group, as a unit, as a team. Together we stand, divided we fall. And once we started to doing the right thing as a group, then you can see that coming together. I know we got ready to play Tuskegee after winning that close game against Clark Atlanta. That Tuskegee game, you can see the week of practice. You can see our guys, the way they were spoken, the way they were just coaching each other. Guys didn't want to be a part of the program or had negative things to say. They didn't want them around. Those guys didn't want those guys around. They said they were bad teammates. And then, once we got to the championship game, my question to the team was, hey, we done got here. So what are we gonna do? We here now. There's no way. We don't need to worry about turning back. We here now. We facing the same team we played early on, and we in the SIAC championship game. So we here. So guess what, guys? We might as well win it. We here. We here now. And so that what you seen, that emotion and just to see, my story is to sit in a hospital room with my wife and just and think about my teammates and think about her and just thinking, sitting there with my assistant coach, and it's just like the world was lifted, to win that championship and to get back to a place where I had the chance to make a difference and winning the championship for our institution. That meant the world to me, and that's why I was so emotional. Thank you, God. But just like I shook Albany State coach hand when we played early on that year, I told him I'd see him in the championship game. But everybody thought it was crazy when I told him that at the 5th game of the year. I said, I see you guys in the championship game. And he kind of looked at me different, too, when I said that. But, hey, we ended up playing the championship game.
Right, and to say that at the time y'all were 0-5 after that loss.
Yeah,
okay, so Coach, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, we were 0-5. So, and we just needed to get an opportunity. And that's what we do. I tell people, some people may have something or gripe to say or how we won it or why we won it or whatever. I always tell them we play the hand that dealt. However the conference say we're gonna play a championship game. You can't knock us for playing the championship game the way the conference designed it to be played. So, we always tell people it's settled on the field, regardless of what people may say.
Okay, so Coach, you've gotten past that, and the football team are now the defending SEAC champions, and you're getting ready to roll into a new season. What are you looking forward to coming into this new season, spring ball? What are you looking forward coming into this upcoming season?
Well, the biggest thing that we always talk about is our playbook. And our Miles College playbook consists of the assessment, the vision, and the implementation. And so with our playbook, I tell our kids that we know what our job assignment, we know what we have to do from a standpoint of, what you did in 18 was 18. You start off 0-0, 0-0, whoever's picked is picked, but the game has to be played. And we want everybody to have the mindset to understand that this is important, that we take care of Miles College from a standpoint of what are we doing academically in our class? Are we going to class? Are we going to be great teammates because we're going to be eligible and we're going to be here for the 2019 season because we're doing the right thing in the classroom? Are we consistent in working out? Are we consistent in our workout that we are on time, that we are there every day, nobody's missing, everybody's on the same page? Like I say, this is one playbook. This is one way. That's how we do things. And then to challenge each other, to challenge your brother when they're out of line and not doing the right things that we anticipate or we expect them to do, and for them to be able to put out. And I always call it put up or shut up. And, what our off-season program has been real intense. And we have 95% participation, guys not missing, guys on time, guys are working out. And, our grades are up, from midterm, our guys here because they know the importance. You can't play in 19 if you're not eligible. And so they understand that. And then from spring ball, it was competing. It was defense versus offense. And it was guys that's getting after each other to making each other better. And everybody just on one common, everybody on one common ground. Everybody's doing the same thing to be successful and together as a unit, as a team. And then when we finished spring ball, we said, hey, we break it down as one. It's been offense versus defense the whole spring. But our kids know just the magnitude of coming in 2019. Everybody guns for the top. They gun for the ones that has been on top. But, we anticipating that. And, there's no backing down from that. We understand what's going to happen in 2019. Everybody's going to bring their A game. And it's just for us to make sure we're taking care of Miles College. And that means we are doing the things for us to be successful and doing things right.
All right. So have any of the boys start talking trash, saying they know they're going to win again? Because I know that's like the commodity. What's the locker room like right now? Because I know it was crazy after y'all won. So what is it like right now?
And, I can tell you coming 2019, our young men are not even talking about championship. What our young men are talking about, making sure we are taking care of Miles College and knowing our alignment, our assignment, being fundamentally sound, offensively, defensively, and just doing things correctly as a team, as a group. I always tell them don't lean on 18 because 19 is going to come up on you fast, and you got to be prepared because you can't look back. We look at a big glass front one, not a rearview mirror, which is small. So 19 is straight ahead, and that's a big mirror and a big window. So we tell our kids that we get ready for 2019. Everybody's bringing the A game. So I want you harping on what we did last year. That celebration happened when January 1st hit 2019. It was getting ready for all season. It was getting ready for 2019. So, and I think our kids understand that. And no, we're not celebrating. We're still not celebrating that 18. That's over with. Once they get their rings, it's over with. We getting ready for 19.
Now, Coach, being that Kels brought up spring ball, and I just happened to go and look back at the shellacking that y'all put on Albany State. I mean, y'all lost to them the first time by 6 points. You put an absolute whooping on them in the championship game. And the key contributors on offense and defense are all coming back. The quarterback, the leading rusher, the leading receiver, the top 3 tacklers, and the only person to also have a sack in that game are all returning. So are they going to be the strength of your team as you look to try and claim another SEAC championship? I'm not going to say defend because you're saying you're starting over. To try and claim another SEAC championship?
Well, the biggest thing that we're excited about, it's a little different than last year. A lot of those guys, first-time guys, we were going through and scratching our head and pulling our hair out. But, anytime coaches get an opportunity, we don't bring in very many transfers and guys that I always say the third-year player is the best player, but guys that have been in this program. And it was exciting this spring to see all our returning guys all to be back, getting after each other this spring. And, we are excited. In reference, we're all healthy. We didn't have anybody to get injured or hurt during spring ball. We had that blessing, and knock on wood, thank you, Jesus, for that. And, guys just been getting after it. We had a great spring, and we are excited. The learning curve was a little different, and it's a little different because now when we say things, it's not foreign language to them. But last year was foreign language to a lot of them. When we were telling them a certain defense, it was foreign language to them. But, those guys are veteran guys. They've been in the program now. So the learning curve is a little different. So that's been the most important thing for us is, the teaching has been a little different,
Mm-hmm. So the handshake at the end of the championship game, did you remind him that you predicted this was going to happen, that you would see him in the championship game?
No, Gabe's done a great job at Albany, and I'm so excited and proud of him, coming in and done what he's done, for Albany and that tradition. And, just our handshake, our friendship, just say, Coach, you guys play well and well coached. And that's the same thing, we always tell and talk about, talk to each other on. And, I want to wish him, very best this off season. And I know they'll be back and humming and ready to go. But, just to shake that hand, shake his hand, and to predict that, early on in the season was unbelievable. But, I just knew it. God gave me that vision that 18 was going to be different. It's going to a lot of good things that I lost that I was going to regain and have an opportunity, to be successful. And he proved it right. He also proved it right to Tiger Woods today. So
yes, he did.
It's not how you start. It ain't never how you start. Never what kind of cloud you're going
right.
through. What storm, is always, I always say it's but God,
Correct.
And
Coach,
go ahead,
Coach. I was going to say, I do. I keep listening to all of the things you say, and you said quite a few things, that's God-given, and there's a lot of things that you said that I completely line up with. And I can tell that relationship with God is really strong, and that's very, very, very important. Is there something daily that you tell those guys when you're in the locker room to basically line up with the same way, like the same thinking? Is it something that you tell them in particular to encourage them, to inspire them on a daily basis?
Well, the biggest thing is love.
Coach, I think you might have been a preacher in your past life now.
No, my dad is here. My dad's a pastor, not me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hadn't learned to turn the other cheek yet, so I'm working on that.
Yes, indeed.
So, but when you talk about our program, you guys, I just preach love, man. Every day when we walk out that field, when we pray, we hug each other. We after games, win or lose, we hug each other. Because I always say, man, the devil, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But the biggest thing is you can't let him take your joy. And I always say that's Jesus on you. So if I can keep Jesus on this team, on my program, on my coaches, we have a chance to be very successful. And I always say that's what the word joy stands for, Jesus on you. And we're going to love each other, regardless of what's the circumstance or what's the situation. And that's the part that people see about this program, or people see when they come in contact with us in this program, is love. We're going to show love. We're going to do things right. It's one way. We're gonna do it right. You know, we're not gonna be disrespectful to anybody. When we travel, people always send that letter back to our president office, and they always say, hey, they met a football program. Them guys are so humble, and that's all we want to be, humble. And you know, we just want to keep joy and keep love, and that's what we preach on a daily basis.
Now, to go back to when you talk about your transfers, now your recruiting style, I noticed when I was looking through your roster, you have players from Arizona, you have players from Louisiana, of course, Alabama, and just all over the country. Talk about your recruiting strategy, and how do you sell Miles to a young man who may have a goal of going pro? And I'm just looking at one young man you have on your team. He may be related to me, Jamari Smith out of Carthage, Mississippi. I'm kin to Smiths on 3 sides. And for him to end up at Miles from Carthage, that's a journey for that young man.
Oh, most definitely. You know, let me first off, when we talk about recruiting, I don't preach NFL to any of my student athletes, because I tell them all the time, I haven't seen a coach run a 40 or catch a football or throw it. So anytime a coach recruits tell you he can get you to the NFL, first you ought to say he's lying. Go there, because a coach can't get you to the NFL. Your God-given ability, that mom and dad, your DNA puts that in you, gets you to the NFL. It's not a coach, you know. I always tell kids that, you know, the thing is, and I'm going to preach to you, is you're going to come in and get a good quality education, and you're going to graduate. And that's something that I don't compromise. And kids will tell you this in this program, you don't go to class, you ain't playing for Coach Ruffin. You don't go to class, you ain't practicing. I don't care if you're a starter. Matter of fact, 3 years ago, our starting punter did not go to a game because he wasn't past the midterm. So I just told the special team coordinator to make sure you get the backup ready. Backup was a tight end. So I told him to get the backup ready to punt, because you got to go to class. And I'm not some things you compromise, but we don't compromise not going to class. You got to get an education. So we look for guys that have the right stuff. And when I say right stuff, that are academically ready, athletically ready, and good people, you know, their attitudes, all of that. We don't want to bring anybody into a program that's disrespectful, that's going to do something to hurt the reputation of the institution. You know, we want good people in this program, good quality student athletes in the program. And we call them scholar athletes at Miles. You know, guys that know what they're coming in here to do, to graduate. That's what I tell the parents. They come in to graduate. They're going to graduate. If they do things that we tell them to do, they're going to be successful. And, we don't compromise on that. So we tell our kids that you got to come here and you got to go to class. That's the most important thing. You know, I'm going to be held accountable from the man up above if I'm not helping you to be successful and productive, you know, because anytime you're in a leadership position, you're going to be charged with making sure that you do the right thing by the people you led. So I want to make sure when it's my time to go, that I know that I did all I could, and I put those guys in the best position to be successful.
That's great, Coach. That's awesome. Now, we've talked about the hat you wear on the football field, but last year you also, awarded another hat, as you mentioned earlier, athletic director. Talk about switching roles from football coach to athletic administrator, where you're responsible for managing all of the sports, because a lot of coaches don't do that. So talk about how you juggle those responsibilities.
Well, the thing is, it's tough, to juggle too. But, you got to have the support. You got to have the supporting cast. And I think I have that supporting cast in my athletic department with my assistant athletic director, Fred Watson, and all my associate athletic directors and compliance, and those guys doing their jobs and making sure they're policing the department, doing the things that it takes for us to be successful. Even when I have to do my duties as head coach, those guys kind of takes up the slack for me. And it's just a partnership. And it's just a teamwork. Everybody together, everyone achieves more. And just our athletic department is aligned in the same direction. We all looking out for each other. We all doing the thing. Number one, the student athletes are the most important. In my athletic department, they already know student athletes are the top priority. They are major stakeholders. You know, we don't mistreat the student athlete. We make sure we do everything humanly possible for our student athletes to be successful. And if they don't have that mentality working for me in that department, they're not going to work at Miles College in athletics, seriously, because our student comes first. And our department is all aligned the same. We're all aligned together. You know, we know our students come first, and we'll make sure they're doing the right things. And we just know that we're not backbiting. You know, we ain't sabotaging. We ain't trying to get ahead. We ain't trying to get over. Everybody is equal. Everybody's the same. We all have a job to do. It's a job. I don't care about what you do. I just want you to do your job. Whether you like me or don't like me, do your job, and don't mistreat the student athlete. Give them all the resources they need to be successful. And that's all I ask of our athletic department. And I ask them just do right by our student athlete. Be firm, be fair, and be consistent in what you do as coaches, you know, and be a mentor, be a leader. You know, our kids always, they don't want to know how much you know. They want to know how much you care for our students. And that's what makes them be successful, if they know you care about them and care about the student athlete, you know, and that's the guys that I look for, are the coaches that I'm looking for in this program. They care about our students to be academically successful, athletically successful, and just you know, society successful, you know, and all that happens when you hire good people. And you take my basketball coach; he's the hardest working man when it comes to. I think he outworks me. You know, and when I found out somebody that really outworked me, that was surprising. But you know, but also he's a great person. He is similar, a great staff. But then you turn around and his athletic team, you know, all got 3.0 grade point average after a semester that he's been there. You know, and they all have A's and B's now at midterm. So he's doing the right thing, because you know, you're here to make sure all our athletes succeed and all our athletes are passing academically.
And that's great. That's what you want. You want to have success in the classroom and success on the athletic playing apparatuses, be it a field, court, it doesn't matter. And the most important goal is to obtain that degree. And you stressed that a lot throughout this interview. And if you're listening, college kids or college hopefuls, give Miles a chance, because if you want to play sports at an HBCU, and a school that's focused on you academically, all of our HBCUs are focused on academics and athletics. But listen to this man here talk, and that's definitely what you're going to get at Miles College. And you know, Coach, I'm thankful that you took time to join us. And you're going to have to call back again, and we'll have to chop it up during the season whenever you can, as you look to continue the success that you're building. You know. And it's good that you're from Mississippi as well as I am. So, you know, I'm definitely want to see you continue to be successful, representing the great state of Mississippi, our home state, and I also represent HBCUs, just the two entities that we have that connect us, and also the third, Coach Bobby Wallace. I mean, it's just awesome to see someone like you with your beliefs and what you've gone through, what you've endured in your life with loss. And still do not lose hope, and still have the courage and intestinal fortitude to be able to help lead your student athletes, to help lead your coaches to be successful. And that says a lot about you as an individual, as a man. So I'm honored to get to know you, honored to, you know, have you on as a guest, and I'm just wowed by the type of individual that you are. Just, you know, the conversation we had Friday, and then now talking to you tonight. It's just great to have someone like you leading at an HBCU, academically and athletically. Kels?
Before we go, Coach, I'll say thank you, but I'll leave you with this last line, and you already know. It's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish.
Oh, my God.
You proved it. You proved it. You proved it.
Yes. I most definitely, you guys, it's an honor. It's an honor, you know, just to have a conversation with you guys, what you guys are doing, you know, out social media, radio, and it just means the world to me. You know, I didn't graduate from an HBCU, but I can tell you something, that being at HBCU, I've learned so much, and I always hear people talk about what they went through at HBCU to prepare them for where they are today. And I can definitely see that. And I just would love for our HBCUs to really rally and get behind our HBCUs. If you're an alum, support, give back, because that's what God says. You have to give to receive. And just to give back no matter what happened and how, things happened in the past during your time at a HBCU. The thing is, you always have to forgive. You have to forgive. So, trouble don't last always. Just give back because your HBCUs, they need it. I come from the other side, and they give, and that's why the facilities and all of that looks different than our HBCUs because they give. And I just would love to see that happen. We need to give back because our student athletes deserve the best. They deserve great facilities. They deserve that because they give so much to practice and education, and academics, and travel and study all of it. They give so much, man, and just I want to see that. That's my God-given, that's my prayer to our Lord and Savior, just for our HBCU alum and connection to give back to our students.
Absolutely.
Yes, well, Coach, we want to thank you for joining Black College Experience. And as I tell all our guests, you're family now. So anytime on Sunday night, between the hours of 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you want to call in and just talk HBCU sports with us or just drop knowledge on us, feel free to hit us up. It's been a very, very amazing interview to learn more about the man that's leading the Miles football team athletic program. I'm just overwhelmed, and and with you being from Mississippi, it just makes it even better for me. So we want to thank you for calling in tonight and telling us about yourself and what you have planned for Miles.
Thank you guys so much, and your counterpart, she had everybody calling and texting me that you better listen to her, you better take care of her. Oh man, she's big time. She's so much blowed up here in Alabama. You can't tell your counterpart nothing.
Yes, indeed. All right. Thank you, Coach. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night.
All right. Well, Kels, there's only one HBCU story to follow up behind Coach Reginald Ruffin. And I know you're going to want to lead this off because you were excited about a certain baseball game this week in Baton Rouge that we talked about last week. So, being that it was your alma mater, doing business again at the plate and on the mound, go ahead and talk about what your Southern Jaguars did.
My Southern Jaguars, they had a really great week. Very, very happy, very proud of those guys. To say that they went in and they did beat LSU. And like I tell people, they didn't just win. They beat LSU 7-2. And, it was so many people try to give so many excuses as to how, as to why, don't worry. But right now, Coach Jackson's on a mission, and it does not matter how it happened, how they won it, they won the game. So being that they beat Memphis the week before, and then you come into the midweek with LSU, you beat LSU, and then you turn around on Friday to beat University of New Orleans. This team is moving. This team is moving in a positive direction. And then they did the 3-game series where they also beat University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. So to go in there and beat LSU, yes. A lot of people. I was in school when we beat LSU. It's happened before. It's been years, but it's happened.
This is the third time.
To see this baseball team go in there and actually beat them, and a lot of their fans were upset, and now they're ready to fire their coaches. I'm like, that's not it. And like I tell people, and I stand by this, and I can say this on air, and I meant it. The little HBCU over at 801 Hardin Boulevard is not supposed to beat the kids across the way over there at LSU. That wasn't supposed to happen. So now, a lot of times, we forget that these are still students. I don't care what school, LSU, Southern, Mississippi Valley, Mississippi State. These are still students.
Kids,
so every time, they're going to lose games. They're going to lose games. You don't just fire the coaches every time you lose a game. And that's what we forget. These are still students. I don't care. And at that time, it goes out the window. They're still students, and we put a lot of pressure on those students. And so we know we're gonna lose games, but when you're winning and you're doing good, I can't help. Yeah, I did a whole article, and I was very adamant about what I said, because when you look at a program like Southern University and you look at how we were banned, and baseball was one of those NCAA, one of those sports that was banned with those sanctions. You know, you look at where you're limited to scholarships and you're limited and you have no postseason ban, and you know these kids that worked hard for that. So when you look at that and you see where they are now, yeah, am I going to brag? I absolutely am going to brag. I'm going to brag, and I'm not going to be humble about it.
No, you shouldn't be.
Because we had to bow our heads when we were down and defeated. So it was an absolutely good week for us.
Right. And here's the thing. This just wasn't any LSU baseball team. This was the number 8 ranked LSU baseball team. Fresh off whooping up on my Mississippi State Bulldogs in the series that they talked about 2 weeks later, that took their butts over to the Bluff and got their butts handed to them. You know, I'm trying to remember the name of y'all mascot because it's slipping from me right now. Lakumba handed Mike's tail to him, 7-2. Starting pitcher Eli Finney limited LSU to 1 run on 1 hit. So that means he was no-hitting the number 8 ranked LSU Tigers, the former national champions, former SEC champions, perennial College World Series member. Through 7 innings, 1 hit. They got it in 7 innings. And then, you know, they end up winning the game 7-2. And, you know, the sports circuit, I listen to ESPN Radio Baton Rouge. When I can say that, you know, the fans, the LSU Tigers fans, like you were right, they were ready to fireman area. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's just a midweek game. It's not just a midweek game. And this was Finney's. Finney said that this was the best he's ever pitched. And he had a 7-over-7 ERA coming into this game. It's not like he had been dominating all year, but he dominated LSU. You know, and something that a couple of sportscasters said kind of bothered me. They were saying that they don't think that, you know, some of these young men may have a future past Southern. Well, you know what? If they don't have a future past Southern, they can look at this game where they whooped y'all behinds, 7-2 on the Bluff. Like you say, Kel, protect the Bluff. It was a blowout on the Bluff to me, you know, and you know, I'm glad that it happened. I'm happy for Southern, I'm happy for HBCUs, happy for Coach Jackson. This is his 2nd year, you know, building that Jaguar program back, following up behind the legendary Coach Kador, and, you know, to get a win like this in year 2, this is a program building win. This lets you know that Southern can play with anybody. They defeated Memphis. They have roared back to lead the SWAC West, and going to be looking to compete with Alabama State for the SWAC championship if both get there. I mean, that's who I'm predicting going to make it to the SWAC championship in baseball, Southern versus Alabama State. That's my prediction. You heard it here, April 14th, 2019. Derek Thomas feels like that Southern University is going to be playing against Alabama State for the SWAC championship in baseball. I mean, it was just a tremendous win, Kels. And it did so much for morale for Southern. I think this is going to help them continue to be successful through the rest of the season. What do you think?
I am. I'm really proud. I think that was 9-2 or whatever, but we're rolling in a really good way, and I just really see that we're gonna be. And next time I said if Coach Jackson ain't SWAC Coach of the Year, we coming for y'all. We gonna be ready to beat up all the voters. But
yes,
very excited to see what's going to happen at the end of the season. It's just like a game by game by game, and we're super excited.
That's awesome. PP, what do you think about Southern beating LSU?
Oh, I predicted that. It's one of those midweek games, man, you know, like how we played with Mississippi State for most of that game. But Southern was hot going into the game, coming off that Memphis series. So, the most impressive thing to me was them then coming back the next day and beating Uno. which is a good team, good major team in baseball.
They always do well in the College World Series.
It's so funny to hear you call it Uno.
Yeah, that's what.
Yes, indeed.
But dude, I said it because I was like UNO. I don't think I ever heard nobody call it Uno. That's funny. I'm gonna start saying that too.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So they came back to get off that emotional high. They beat down LSU. I mean, ain't no way to put it. Then they came back and beat Uno, and then beat up on UAPB. They're rolling right now. So even if they don't win the SWAC tournament, they got a great case, as far as getting an NCAA tournament anyway as an at-large, So
I agree. I mean, I just think that win was great for Southern and the program. And before we get out of here, because we're almost out of time, just got to run this by. Alabama State wins third straight women's tennis tournament championship. They've been the queens of the SWAC in tennis for the past 3 years. So congratulations to Alabama State. Trying to see who won for the men. I think the men might have won too. Let me jump to the men's page right quick. Yep. And that's Alabama State wins for the men too, third consecutive. So, wow, kings and queens of SWAC tennis, Alabama State, which means both of those teams are going to be heading to the NCAA tournament to try to win a national championship or tennis championship against bigger schools. So hey, that's great for Alabama State. That's just another notch that's going to help them win that Commissioner's Cup, Kels.
I always say Alabama State is the most complete athletic department in the SWAC. So, I mean, they do. I think they're used to winning that cup. So, they're on the mission to get it once again.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, that's all our time for tonight. Make sure you check with us next week as we will be back talking about more HBCU sports news and social action news. And again, I'm going to continue to pray for Miss Liz. Hopefully she is found and brought back home safely. Kels, close us out.
So it won't be next week. It'll be the week after because we're off next Easter. Week because next week is Easter Sunday. Derek just doesn't want to remember that. So we are off Easter Sunday. Who's coming the Sunday after?
Well, I'm waiting to hear back from the potential guests. I can let you know who I'm working to try and get on the show. Trying to work to get the legendary baseball coach from Jackson State University, Coach Bob Brady. Waiting to hear back from him. Of course, he was ready to come on next week. This Sunday, but it's Easter Sunday, so he's gonna get back with me and let me know after Easter if he's gonna be able to come on. If not, the next week, the 28th, definitely we're gonna get Coach Brady on because he has some things he wants to talk about the state of HBCU baseball. I mean, kids, we've been rolling. I mean. Spring sports ending, getting ready. We all know what April means, heading into May, graduation. It's just been an awesome season of HBCU sports, Kels.
Absolutely. So y'all have a good night, and we will see y'all not next week, but the week after.
All right, have a good Easter.